everybody, Ellen here. Today I come to you guys with my October book haul, and I definitely bought too many books in comparison to how many books I read, because I read 7 books and I bought 6 books and I'm only supposed to buy half of what I read, but you know, if you have a bad week, sometimes you just need to do it. So that's what happened here. But yeah, let's get talking about the books. So first out we have The Sunbearer's Trial by Aidan Thomas. And this is basically supposed to be this sort of trial where a lot of different teenagers are chosen to participate, and it's a very big honor to be part of it, and the winner will be honored above everybody else and the loser will be sacrificed. Yeah, that sounds very dark and morbid, but I'm so here for it because it sounds so cool. We have a book I've been waiting to be released for years, and that is Bastille vs. Evil Librarians by Brandon Sanderson and Jancy Patterson, and this is book Sis in Alcatraz vs. the Evil Librarians. I have the other books here, and I read those years ago. It was I think the Alcatraz vs. the Evil Librarians, the first book in the series, was my first Brandon Sanderson book, or possibly my second, but it was definitely the very early start, and I was hooked, honestly. And the 5th books ended with such a bang, and now this is finally in my hands. It's so short and I hate that, but yeah, I really want to read it. But this one is supposed to be told through Bastille's point of view instead of Alcatraz, because of the events that occurred in 5th book. But basically this series is about Alcatraz, and he gets this sort of package by this mysterious man, and it's supposed to be sort of an inheritance by his parents, and then all of a sudden the evil librarians are coming from left and right trying to steal it from him, and shit goes down. And yeah, a lot of shit breaking. I don't want to say anything more, but yeah, I love this series so much and I really need to reread it so that I can move on to this one. And then we have Babel by R.F. Kuang, and this is I don't really know a lot about it. It's supposed to be a dark academia kind of book. This is supposed to take place in Oxford in 1836, so it's sort of a historical fantasy. We meet Robin Swift, who was orphaned in Canton, and Robin Swift thought Babel was a paradise, but it turns out it became a prison, and students stand against an empire. So that sounds really cool. I mean, it's gorgeous, and I really love the first 2 books in the Poppy War trilogy. Still need to read the 3rd book by R.F. Kuang. So yeah, I'm hoping I will like this one as well. And then we have The Broken Eye by Brent Weeks. This is the 3rd book in the Lightbringer series. It took a year, 3.5 years pause between the 1st and the 2nd book, but I do really love the series, except the constant sexualization of female teenagers. But besides that, if you can look past it, which you can't really, but if you just look to the characters and the plot, it's really interesting. And basically you get your powers based off of how many colors you can see. The more colors you can see and intercept, the more powerful you are. And the most powerful of all is Gavin, because he's the prism. He can see all of the 8 colors, so he's sort of a manning power. And in the 1st book a lot of shit goes down, a lot of plot twists and reveals and stuff, and the 2nd book was not no exception. And it was really cool and badass freaking battles. So I really do want to pick this one up and hopefully not wait 3.5 years to read this one. Then we have Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I still think this one is really pretty. So basically we meet Signa, and she was orphaned as a baby. Signa is now 19 years old, and she's been raised by a couple of guardians who are actually more interested in her wealth rather than her well-being. And all of her guardians that she's had so far has met an untimely end, and her last living relatives are the Hawthorns, which is sort of an eccentric family living at Thorn Grove, which is an estate both glittering and gloomy. His patriarch mourns his late wife through wild parties while his son grapples for control of his family's waning reputation, and he suffers from a mysterious illness. Then the mother spirit actually shows up, and claims that she was poisoned and that's why she died. And Sina realizes that the entire family might be in danger, and she enlists the help of a very surly stable boy to hunt down the killer. And Signa is the best chance of finding out who's the killer is. So it sounds really cool. I am looking forward to reading it, just like with everything else, because that's what I said about every book. Then we have the last book, and that is Wolf Song by TJ Clune. I have read 2 of his books so far, and I really do love them. And this is a new cover from one of his older series, and I just stumbled upon it in my favorite bookstore, the science fiction bookstore, and I just needed to have it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I needed to have it. But I think this one is basically supposed to be about shapeshifters, so they turn into wolves or something like that. Yeah, the entire family that we follow are shapeshifters, and they can shapeshift into a wolf at will. We meet the boy named Ox, and he is actually drawn to the youngest boy in this family, and he's both charming and handsome, but haunted by the scars he cannot heal. And it basically says, Ox was 23 when murder came to town and tore a hole in his heart. Violence flared, tragedy split the pack, and Joe left town, leaving Ox behind. 3 years later, the boy's back, except now he's a man. And Ox can no longer ignore the song that howls between them. Anyways, this is a chunker. I don't really know. It's only 568 pages, but it looks like it's like 800. It's so big. But yeah, those were all of the 6 books I bought this month. I have so many books I want to buy, honestly, so it's so hard to narrow it down. So honestly, kind of happy about being able to narrow it down to just the 6 of them. But yeah, if you fuck min hand. But yeah, as always, if you read any of these books, please let me know down below what you thought about them, without spoiling, of course. And yeah, I hope we see each other in the next one. Bye.